For my project, I thought it would be fun to go to my grandfather's hometown to interview him and see where he grew up. I hope you enjoy it. Where did you grow up?
I grew up right here in Borden. It's now Borden Carlton. And I grew up right here in this greenhouse. And it's a tremendous place to grow up. When I was a child, this road didn't see a plow a whole lot in the wintertime. And we'll walk to school up this road, and we'd be walking over the telephone lines and stuff like that. Snow was really high when we were kids. We had the rink was just over there, about 100 feet down the road. The store was just over on the next road. We had, this is a great place. We used to play ball right over here in this little field here, and there'd be about 20 of us, anywhere from 12 down. But we would play ball over here, and we'd have a blast. And we'd play there for hours. There'd be all kinds of us.
What has changed in Borden since you were a kid?
A lot, a lot. We used to go down here to go to the boat. And today now we have the bridge here. And one of the biggest changes is there's not a lot of lineups. There are times that in the peak summer that the boats or the cars would be lined up to Albany Y. And that today with the bridge, everything is so free flowing. In 20 minutes, you're across the other side, and it's just tremendous change. I love it. I remember back in '64 when they around that time they started to take the trains off of Prince Edward Island, and they were down on the other side of the track over here where the train track used to be, and they used to have bulldozers not down there. They were starting the causeway back then. For some reason, they shut it down, but this this bridge has been a tremendous blessing. Um, Borden itself has changed a lot. Even the houses along here, some of them are gone and changed and new, and it was a great place to grow up.
How has life changed on PEI since you were young?
Wow, that's a good question. Life has changed a lot here. No trains, a lot more vehicles. The roads are a lot better today than they ever were. Um, when I was a young child going to Borden or going to Charlottetown, the first road from Borden to Charlottetown was cement. That didn't go over so well. So, and it used to be 2 lanes, and now it's wider, and life has changed a lot. There's a lot more money flowing today than there was when we were children. There wasn't a lot of money in the homes and that, and we didn't have all the luxuries that you guys had. Televisions. Um, televisions were not a lot of them around when I was growing up. Television has really changed from then because we used to have 2 channels, and even then you had to wait till they come on later on in the day. And programming has changed a lot. Life in Prince Edward Island, schools, Borden School went to grade 10 at one time, and then all of a sudden they came with large schools where different communities would go to the same schools. Life has changed a lot.
Did anything change inside your house when you were growing up?
Yeah, it did. I'm glad you asked. In 1960, we put an addition on the house. We went from outdoor plumbing and outhouse to indoor plumbing. And I remember one day it was out in the yard, and my dad went into the outhouse, and he come back out, folded the paper under his arm, and started walking away. And he looked behind him, and the outhouse was going over the bank. So, yeah, life has changed a lot. And we used to have indoor plumbing down the basement at that time, but it was a clay basement and everything like that. And nobody wanted to get down there because of rats. They were an issue. Oh yeah, another time, the hotel store used to run right through here to the shoreline. And anyway, another time we had a backup, and the sewer from the hotel in that area that was come in our basement. We had about that much sewer in our basement. The city or the town had to clean it out and clean it up and disinfect and everything. It was interesting times back then. There was no check valves or anything like that. The hotel was just over on the next street over here, no, over here, and there was a big apartment buildings over on that side. AP Soretti owned those, and we used to have Boy Scouts in the basement over there. He was very, very kind to do that for us. And his son Henry ran the store just over here in the hotel. The rink was just down the road here, about 150 feet. We used to play hockey there, and man, it was cold. We used to put a little bit of coal in the dressing room, just enough to break the chill, but oh man, it was cold. You went skating out there, you knew it was cold. Other times, we would uh, we would go in there after the ice started to melt. We'd play broomball. Sometimes you'd be sweeping water and playing on it. It was a lot of fun growing up here. Really, really was a good spot.
Do you think technology is important?
Yeah, technology is very important. One of the things that I wish that technology wasn't doing was when we were children, we didn't hang around our houses and do stuff. We were out, we were busy, we were all over this place, okay? This town. And we knew everything and we knew everybody in it at that time. And um, you weren't home that much during the day. Life was busy here. You got your meals and you headed out, you ate, and you were out playing, you were doing stuff. I think today we spend too much time in technology. Kids are, it's good to know computers and stuff like that, but it shouldn't be their life. They should be going out and using their imaginations in other ways and being creative and networking themselves and talking to people rather than on social. I get, I'm not convinced it's the best for our children.
Did you ever see a train on PEI?
When I was growing up, until they took them off, yes, every train went through Borden. They come off the boats and they would you used to have down here, there was a power station for the boats about a quarter of a mile down the road. There used to be three great big oil tanks. And when they would drain the trains and everything, they made like a little area where we used to get down there and play hockey in the daytimes. Yes, trains were important to us. And right here, where that red car is, just over here, can you show it? Can you see it? Okay, where that red car is, the trains used to come down here. And the train station is that first tent over here where they're doing COVID, which brought a few changes to Prince Edward Island life. Yeah, the train station was down there, and the tracks. You would get on a train here in Borden, okay? Every little community, you would just get going, and the trains would stop. And it would go, and then another couple of miles, and it would stop again, taking supplies to communities and people picking up and going to Charlottetown or Summerside. And it was an all-day excursion almost to go to Charlottetown, okay? It was a long, terrible drive. Yeah, this is possibly one of the old train tracks right here in the caboose, and these would run right onto the boats, and the boats, the majority of them that the Abequid and the Princeton took, they had train tracks all on their decks, and should be just loaded with trains, and they'd be shunting back and forth the diesel and stuff like this here, and they had a turnstile just up over here where, like I said, they would turn the train right around, then they get back onto the boats and do it, and then head towards wherever they were going, Summerside, Charlottetown, wherever.
Where did you go to school?
I went to school right here. The school was right here, and it was a big school. I believe at one time it went up to grade 10, and later when I was there, the high schools, Athena was just opening up my last year of grade 8, and we had to go there to write an exam. And it was a big school, and right here In the classroom I was in grade 8, I used to be able to watch them dock the boats and see the boats coming in. And there was all kinds of different boats. We had a coal boat, diesel boats. The Abaquit was the largest icebreaker in the world. There were times that some of these ships would be stuck out on the ice for quite a while, sometimes a couple of days. But the Abbey would come along, or an icebreaker would be called in, and they'd break the ice, and the ships would get back into moving again. My favorite boat of them all was the Old Prince. It was beautiful inside. I loved it. Um, Lots of stories about the Old Scotia. My dad was a quartermaster, and um, going across to get refitted somewhere in Quebec or Halifax, I'm not sure which. We're going through the Canso Strait, and a storm came up, a bad one, and they thought they were going to lose the Scotia that night. And my dad said to the captain, "We haven't lost her yet, sir." And anyway, they made it through that. It was just a miracle that they got through. Anyway, the school here, right here, used to be the capital, or a theater right here. And it grew when I was about 11 or 12, it burned down. And we had no theater. So you had to entertain yourself after that a lot. It was a great place. My favorite class was history or geography. I loved it. I loved learning about foreign lands and different people, and explorers and stuff like that. I love that stuff. When I was a kid, I was always interested in going to Haiti and Bolivia. I never got to Bolivia, but I got to Haiti, and I went on several mission trips to Haiti, and they were very, very enjoyable. I mean, when you come home from there and the crusts of the bread, you appreciated them, because when you saw the poverty and you saw what you had, it was just wow.
How did you get to school?
We used to get to school. We used to walk. We had to walk everywhere back then. Later on, we went to high school. We get picked up in buses, but to go here, and we used to have a shortcut down there, which would cut off about half the distance we had to walk. Sometimes we went by the road. In the old theater, another story was we used to watch, and there was a show called Drums Along the Mohawk, and there was an alligator caught this guy. We come out of the theater and it was pitch dark. So we had to walk home about half a mile down the road here, and we were walking on the center of the road in case the alligators come out of the ditches. Oh man, just little nightmare stuff sometimes. My brother and I, man, we were we were hoofing it.
Did you have homework?
Yeah, we had homework. Yeah, the earlier grades, you had the usual printing and stuff like that there, and learning math and multiplications and memorizing them. And yeah, we had homework, not a lot of it over the years. My biggest challenge was the day they introduced us to algebra and geometry. To this day, thank you, Sister Trez.
Do you think PEI is a better place to live today?
I would have to say there's been a lot of changes. Life is full of changes all the time. Things are changing, and faster right now than we think with the technology and everything like this here. Yeah, life is different today. Pre-COVID, I think life was a lot better. Yeah, life is definitely changing all the time. For the better, some ways no. I really, I really think we're doing many times our children a disservice by all the media and all the immediate attention, when they should be out doing stuff, creating stuff, meeting new friends and everything like this here.
Thanks for watching.